This video is going to look at lead and lag compensation using root loci. So we know how to sketch a root loci, and we want to know how can we use this for design. Now, the last video showed how we might choose a gain based upon the existing root loci, but this only allowed us to meet a single criteria, so was limited in efficacy. Here we want to ask, what poles and zeros can I add to meet more performance criteria? So a reminder then about the damping ratio criteria. What we said in the previous video is a choice of zetas about 0.71 is typically a good choice, and you will find a lot of the books use this as an ideal closed loop pole. But the problem we have is that with a simple gain design, there's no other flexibility. You just look at the root loci, pick the point with the desired damping ratio, and you get what you get. What if you've got other performance criteria, other things that you want to achieve? First then, let's look at lag compensation. Now, a key point about lag compensation is given here. The achievable damping and overshoot and settling time is dictated by what you get with a simple gain design. So that's important. You're limited in your start point. However, because you can add an additional pole and zero, you do have some additional flexibility. And what this is used for, you'll see I've going to underline the word solely, is to change the low frequency gain. And in the textbooks, you'll see typically they use the offset to ramps criteria. So here's a lag compensator, and you'll notice the zero is bigger than the pole. So the zero, we've got an RA there, and in the pole we've got an A. So we're going to increase the low frequency gain by a factor of R, solely by a factor of R, because you remember this K is the K that has come from the simple K design, so we've already got that in place. So the main design choice is going to be the parameter A. So where am I going to put this value A? And why is that the main design choice? Because the value R is actually given by your low frequency gain or offset criteria. So if you're doing offset to ramps, you'll see the offset to ramp formula is given here for completeness, just in case you had forgotten. So what does a lag do to a root loci? So you'll see here, I've got a root loci, original root loci for this system here. And now what I'm going to do is add a lag compensator. Now what you'll see is the asymptotes have been pulled a long way to the right. In fact, in this case, they've been pulled all the way into the right half plane. So if somebody suggested you use this compensator here, you'd probably be saying, whoa, hold on a minute, I'm not sure this is a good thing. It's really causing me problems. Now, here's an alternative lag compensator, and you can see the asymptotes have, yes, still been pulled to the right, but not so much. So if you look at these two possible lag compensators, you can see the one on the left didn't seem to be helpful. The one on the right might be. Of course, they both increase the low frequency gain, because you can see the ratio 5/3 is the same for both. So why is this problem coming from? If you look at a lag compensator and you look at the pole and the zero that you're adding, you will find the key thing is the centroid is being moved to the right. So this is bad. So you do need to be careful with lag compensation. You're going to move the centroid of the root loci to the right, so you are going to be closer to instability. So what are we going to do about that? Well, typically what we do is we try and move the centroid no more than about 10% of the current closed loop poles. And the way we do that is by making this parameter A roughly 10% of the dominant pole, or smaller, but certainly not bigger. Let's look at an algorithm then. So we know that lag is a low gain strategy. We know the poles and zeros must be chosen close enough to the origin so they have a minimal impact on the original root loci, so a factor of 10 smaller than the dominant poles. Okay, and it means we're going to have a very slow pole in the system, and you have to accept this. If you want to increase the low frequency gain, nothing is for free. You have to pay somewhere, and where you're going to pay is that you're going to have this slow pole, perhaps slightly worse damping. So here's the algorithm. First, do a simple gain design to choose K to achieve the desired damping dominant pole. So that was the previous video. Then define P, which is the modulus of the real part of the dominant pole. In fact, you'll have got that as part of step 1 already. Define the compensator 0, and this is the key step. You see, I've put this factor 10. So RA, this is basically defining our 0, and we want this to be P over 10. You could make it 10 bigger, P over 12, P over 15, but 10 seems to be about right in practice. Define the compensator pole, and this is the key thing, to be P over 10R. So R is this design parameter which you're going to choose to set your low frequency gain criteria. So you'll see R appears in this formula here. So here's an example. Design a lag for the system above to achieve a ramp error constant of 2 and a damping ratio of 0.7. So step 1, a simple gain design gives us that the dominant poles are roughly at minus 0.4, 0.4J with a corresponding K of 0.9. So what we're going to do is now look and say, how are we doing by way of our other criteria, our KV criteria? And what you'll see is if we do just a simple gain design, our KV is 0.34. So our low frequency gain is not good enough. So we say, how do we improve low frequency gain? Let's add a lag compensator. Now to achieve a KV of 2, we need to increase the low frequency gain by a ratio basically of 5.9. So the lag compensator that I'm going to use, you can see I've put 0.4 over 10 in the numerator. And where's that 0.4 come from? It's come from this pole we had with the simple gain design. So that's where the 0.4's come from. And then in the pole, I've put 0.4 over 10R, with R being this value, 5.9. So here are the root loci before and after. And what you notice is they both look very similar. They've got very similar shapes, but the difference is that with the lag, you've got this slow pole and 0 very close together. It does have a slight effect on the root loci, but not a huge effect on the root loci. If you look at the responses, unsurprisingly, you can see that with the lag, your overshoot is not quite as good as it was before, and you have got this very slow settling due to this very slow pole. And of course, the benefit will be seen if you actually do a ramp response. So the offset to ramps would be much smaller with this lag compensator added. Here's a second example, but this example has got no integrator. So we're going to go through this quickly. Our objective is to decrease the offset of steps to less than 0.1 and with a damping of 0.7. So first do the simple gain design to get your target pole. And this gives you a K of about 4.65 and a dominant pole minus 1.8 plus J 1.8. Now, the lag is used for your offset criteria. Now we're doing offsets to step now because there's no integrator. So you'll see what I've done down here. As I've said, what's the offset to a step? Well, there it is, with my lag compensator included, assuming I've done everything I've done before. So we're going to have K into S plus A over 10, S plus A over 10R. So that's going to be my lag compensator. This value A is going to be taken from here. It's going to be 1.8. Okay, so if I plug those numbers in and calculate the offset, I get this formula here, and you see the R is included. So if I want the offset to be less than 10%, I can essentially solve for R, and you can see it gives me R equals 5.16. And now I simply plug those values in. So let's see what's happened. Again, you look at the root loci before and after, and you can see they're very, very similar, apart from I've got this slow pole and 0 because I've added the lag compensation. But if I look at the step responses, what can you see? You can see with the lag, you've got up to 0.9. So your offset is now 10%, which is much smaller than it was before you added the lag component. So this shows you the benefit. You are going to lose a little bit of damping, a little bit in terms of the speed of convergence, but you will reduce the offset. What about lead compensation then? So what is the impact on a root loci of adding a lead compensator? And here you notice the 0 has a smaller amplitude than the pole. So here you can see the 0 bit A and the pole bit RA. So here are some root loci with and without a lead. And what's the key point? You can see that the asymptotes are pulled significantly to the left with this particular example. So a lead allows the dominant poles to be moved left and thus achieve faster closed loop behavior. So in general, a lead is a high gain or a high performance strategy. You use this if you want faster behavior from your closed loop. Now, how is it that we're moving the lead to the left? Well, similarly with the lag, if you look at the movement of the centroid, you'll see you end up with this formula here, and you see because of how the lead is defined, you are going to get a significant movement to the left with a lead. Now, in order for this movement to be significant enough, the value of A has to be large enough, and you see this is opposite from what we had with the lag. With the lag, we said A had to be small, so the asymptote movement was small. But with the lead, we want the asymptote movement to be large, so we need A to be large enough. Now, it's typical to choose this A to be about the same size as the current dominant pole, because if it's not, you're wasting your time. So as a rule of thumb, look at what you've got with your simple gain design. That will give you a value of A with simple gain that is sort of indicative of what you might want in your lead. Now, how do lead and lag compare? Here you can see that with the lag compensation, we're settling in about 4 seconds, and our peak input is about 2. When I add a lead compensation, I can settle much faster. Look at the time scales here, 2 as opposed to about 4. But you pay for it by having a more aggressive input. So nothing is for free. The lead is more aggressive than the lag, but by being more aggressive, it allows you to get faster behavior. So now we need some loose guidance for designing a lead compensator. So we've got 2 tuning parameters, basically R and A. Okay, so how far should the centroid be moved, and what is the ratio of the pole to 0, which is this factor R? The current position of the centroid in the existing root loci is not actually useful information, because the centroid itself might be in the right half plane, or it might be in a poor position, so please don't use the centroid itself. A rule of thumb could be to let the compensator 0, so that's this bit up here, equal the speed of the desired closed loop pole position. So what closed loop pole do you want, and choose the basically A to match the real part of that. Now, being systematic is more helpful in general. To do this, we need to be prepared to define, and here's the key word if you're not missing this. What you'll find with lead designs is they often ask you to be more specific. Define your desired dominant closed loop poles and choose a desired damping ratio. And then what we're going to use is use the degrees of freedom in the lead design to ensure we achieve close to those desired closed loop poles. But notice the key point, you've got to define something in advance. So steps, plot the root loci for G of S and add the lines with the desired damping ratio. Now, choose points on those lines, and here you can see the key thing, which are a factor of say 2 to 3 further into the left half plane. In other words, faster. If we're not trying to get faster behavior than a simple gain design, why are we trying to use a lead? We're wasting our time. So how much faster do you want to be? Then choose the 0 of the lead to have the same real part as the target poles. So you can see the definition, you define the target pole, and that implicitly then defines the 0 of the lead. And then we're going to use the angle condition, so basically the argument of GM equals minus 180 to find the required pole for the lead compensator. So the figure will make it clear, and then finally use the modulus condition to find the required gain. So here's an example, and then it will become clearer. Design, that should say lead, I do apologise, for the system above to achieve a speed up of a factor of 2.5 and with a damping of 0.7. So step 1, do a simple gain design to find the dominant poles, and there you'll see the dominant poles are about minus 0.4 plus 0.4j with a k of 0.9. Actually, that k is irrelevant, we're just picking the point on the root loci. So for a lead, our desired poles are going to be roughly minus 1 plus j. So you see that's 2.5 times faster than what you can get with a simple gain design. So that's what we asked for. Can we be 2.5 times faster? So here we go. You can see the original root loci. That was what we could achieve. Our 0.4 minus 0.4 plus 0.4j. So we've gone 2.5 times faster. So there's our target pole. And then you notice we've put the target 0 to be on the real axis directly below that target pole. So that's given us the value A. And our question now is, where am I going to put the pole? Where am I going to put this RA term? So what we do is we use the angle criteria. We say we've got to satisfy that the argument of GM equals minus 180 at this position here. So we substitute P into GM and basically say what will R be to satisfy that criteria. Once we've done that, we then find K such that modulus of GM equals 1 at the desired pole P. Now, this is where you're going to be holding on to your hat. Here's some of the maths behind doing that, and you say, oh, it does look a little bit unpleasant, and I think I would agree with you. Yes, you can do it. Yes, the steps are clear. Yes, you can get explicit answers, but the algebra might be somewhat messy. And here's the result. You'll see the lead has pulled the root loci to the left. So if you compare the before and after, you'll see here the asymptotes close to minus 1. Where are we over here? Okay, or the root loci. So we have pulled ourselves a long way to the left, so we are going to be much faster, which is what we wanted. And if you look at the step responses, you can see what do you get with the lead and what did you get with the simple gain design. And you can see the lead is significantly faster. So some conclusions. We've introduced the simple design methodologies exploiting root loci plots and insights. If you do proportional gain only, you're stuck with the existing root loci, so you're limited to behaviours on the current loci. If you use lag compensation, then you can increase the low frequency gain, which is typically used for offset criteria. But the transient dynamics, while similar to simple gain only, might be slightly worse. Lead compensation allows you to speed the system up, but obviously at the price of increased input activity.